What's going on YouTube? Kamikazevondoom here with another Division 2 build video. Now shout out to the DoD, Disciples of Doom. And today's build video is going to be another one in my series of best solo Dark Zone builds. All of these builds I test and prove solo in the Dark Zone, and then I release them to you guys as soon as I, have all the kinks worked out. But this one, I love it, and it is a weapon that anyone can use. It doesn't matter if you're Shade level 2 or Shade level 1000. You can use this weapon fairly simple. Just follow the build template. Obviously, when you copy and paste my build and you are at or above Shade level 1000, you'll get the same numbers and the same results. And if you're lower than Shade 1000, obviously some of your stats might be lacking just a little bit, but just follow the template and you should do just fine. But don't take my word for it. Let me show you this gameplay and then we will come right back for that build breakdown. Don't forget to hit the thumbs up and support the video. Let's roll that footage.
Rogue artillery turret detected. Location neutralized. Now detecting contaminated gear. Rogue agent eliminated. Contaminated gear detected. Rogue hive detected. Rogue agent neutralized. Rogue agent eliminated. Initiating rogue protocol. Now detecting contaminated gear. Immediate medical assistance needed. Agent out of action.
Kilo's ready for pickup.
Helo arrived. Nearby agent has become rogue. Rogue agent nearby. Rogue Stinger hive detected. Rogue agent eliminated.
Kilo will Vehicles apart in 30 seconds. Pickup begun.
System disrupted. System restored.
Yes, bro. I can do this all day. Are they flanking us? Hostile civilian.
Contaminated gear detected. Rogue hive detected.
They're coming up the flank.
Contaminated gear detected. Contaminated gear. Contaminated gear detected.
Yes, bro. Solid hit.
What was that shit?
Now detecting contaminated gear.
Port on.
Engaging landmark.
Might have better luck over there.
Rogue incinerator turret detected. Immediate medical assistance needed. Contaminated gear detected. artillery turret detected. Location neutralized. Now detecting contaminated gear. Rogue agent eliminated. Contaminated gear detected. Rogue hive detected. Rogue agent neutralized.
Alright, and we're back. I hope you enjoyed the gameplay. Not only was I showing you me taking out landmarks on every dark zone, whether it be east, south, west, but I also gave you some rogue engagements in both east, south, and west again. That way you can see it does well in PvE and PvP in all the dark zones for the game. But enough of that jibber jabber, let's get into the build breakdown. So here it is. This is my next best solo Dark Zone build featuring the AK. That's right, I am using the AK assault rifle. This is the first build I have ever used it, and funny thing is that I had a few friends I was running conflict with tell me to use the AK. I didn't even have one at the time, so I had to grind it for a different build that I'll show you guys later on. And I figured, why not test it out in the dark zone? So this is the build that I came up with to test it out in the dark zone. Now I will have another AK build for you guys later on, probably next week or so. So look out for that. But for this one, it's all about the AK, all about solo dark zone, and having some fun. The survivability is great. The damage is insane. And I don't know, it's a lot of fun to use. Now for me, I'm normally a FAMAS guy myself. I'm not a big fan of the carbine or the M4 or any of those. For me, it's usually either the FAMAS or the Eagle Bearer. Now this is a nice exception. Now yes, the FAL is nice, but for some reason lowering the RPMs even more and raising that base damage even more, just mwah, it's really nice with the setup. You saw that in the gameplay. It just wrecks like a Mack truck. But with all that said and done, let's start off with the specialization. Now I am using the firewall specialization. Reason being is it gives me this fancy dancy shield. It is called the Striker Shield. If you click on your shields, it will be grayed out here on the far right unless you have the firewall specialization active. If so, you can use it. Now, this shield is pretty special. For PvP, man, it kind of has like a love-hate relationship in PvP. Even myself, I'm not a huge fan of it. And I try to stay away from it. But when it comes to solo Dark Zone, it's kind of like no holds bar. You can't hold back because the other people aren't going to hold back. Whether it be a 1v3, a 1v4, it doesn't matter. You need to be ready for all, situations. And this shield has actually helped me in more situations than not. Reason being, and I'll read it right here. The second paragraph down, it says the Striker Shield will boost the damage of the user and all allies behind it based on the numbers of enemies in front of the shield. And then the very top stat says per enemy you have a 12% damage bonus. Now a lot of you are like, well, hold on. Now the very bottom stat shows the PvP damage taken modifier. Now remember that they did nerf the shields back in the day to where now they take more damage in PvP. However, that 12% damage bonus per enemy in front of the shield is still very active. And this is on a tier, a tier 6 shield. Pretty sick. So you have a tier 6 shield with a 12% damage increase per enemy in front of the shield, and it also has a health of 4.8 million. Pretty crazy. And that's why we are running the firewall specialization. That's it. Now the medkit's okay. I prefer the gunner medkit myself, but the firewall medkit's not bad either, especially if you get caught on a status effect. Which leads me to my other skill. I do run the jammer pulse. Now a lot of people are telling me to run the EMP sticky, but the EMP sticky has a longer cooldown than the jammer pulse, whether it be by 1 second or whatever. It's still a slower cooldown. So I'm going with the jammer pulse myself just because I get it back quicker and I use it quite often. Now going back to the top, firewall specialization, you use it for the striker shield and also the med kit. But yeah, there you go. Now going to the weapons. This is the solo DZ AK build, and with that you have to use the AK. Now I chose the black market AKM myself just because for me I liked it better than the military AK. So I'm going with the black market AK. This one, base damage 103.1k. Now that is before any of the stacks from the Momento bag. So remember that this build smacks when you get to those max stacks from the Momento backpack. Now as far as these attributes, I'm max on assault rifle damage, max on health damage, and max on damage to targets out of cover. Now just so you know, for all those numbers people out here, I have 31% health damage, I have 18% damage to targets out of cover, and I have 8% damage to armor. Not to mention the perfect glass cannon that is amplifying all of that damage, and the Momento backpack that is giving me more damage every time I get a stack. Not to mention the long-term stacks that come with it. Now combining that with my AK, I have strained, so I am getting more crit damage the longer I am shooting my weapon. So that's why I chose a more tanky route. As you can see, I'm running all blues except for the chest piece. Now obviously the backpack gives me a blue and a red, so that makes this build even stronger. But as far as core attributes, everything blue except for the chest piece. Now back to strained. What strained does is it gives me crit damage, up to 50% crit damage. And all I have to do is shoot the AK. Pretty simple. Now going to the attachments, I have crit chance on the optic, I have crit chance on the laser pointer, and crit chance for the muzzle brake. The extended magazine puts me up to that 50 round mag, and this thing just destroys. The multiplicative damage is just out of this world when it comes to this build. Now as far as my other weapons, the Vector is super strong running it with this build as well. So for this one I am running the Vector SBR 9mm with max SMG damage and max damage to armor. It comes with 63.1k total damage, but like I said with the Momento backpack, once you get those stacks, all the damage goes way up. Now for the Vector, I'm running it with Optimist. The lower your magazine, the more damage you get. The faster the RPMs, the faster you get to the end of your magazine. So they kind of go hand in hand together. Running Optimist basically guarantees that damage buff every time I shoot it. And then my sidearm, nothing special, just a double barrel sawed-off, hitting at 1.1 million total damage. This one has shotgun damage, damage to armor, and damage to targets out of cover. Now, if I am in a pickle, I am, on the ropes and I'm about to die, I can whip this out, get that kill, and proc preservation. That'll repair part of my armor over time. Now looking at the build, this is going to be a quick little summary and then we'll do a deep dive. So I'm running the Momento Backpack. Reason being is in the Dark Zone, once you have all those stacks, you have armor regen, skill efficiency, and weapon damage. Not to mention I'm running a lot of blue core attributes, so I'm a little tanky. And with that being said, I also have a tier 6 shield, so they have to go through my shield and go through my armor. Now with that, I am running the sacrifice chest piece, which with glass cannon does affect your playstyle. Once you lose that shield, you're gonna get, messed up pretty quick because you have all of that incoming amplified damage. However, with the way this build is set up, as long as you are shooting the target, they're gonna die. Pretty simple. You're behind a pretty beefy shield and you're not really gonna get rocked by skills. So you're just able to proc that strain to get those hits on target and they will die. Now for the mask, I am running the Hollow Man, which gives me health damage on top of the AK that gives me health damage as well. So I'm spec'd pretty high into health damage. I have the Contractors Gloves on for damage to armor. I have the Fox's Prayer knee pads on for the damage to targets that I cover. And I am rocking one piece of Grupo Sombra just for the extra crit damage. So that's a quick summary of it. Let's do the deep dive. Starting with the mask. This is the Hollow Man mask. Now, the Hollow Man mask is a PvP exclusive. It is y'all gear, and the only way to get this mask is from the Dark Zone, whether it be from Dark Zone drops, Dark Zone vendors, what have you. You can get it in the Dark Zone fairly simple. Next one is conflict caches. You're able to play conflict, gather up some caches, and then open them, and you do have a chance of getting one to drop there. And then the last one is named item caches. You can get those caches from the season reward track, from season events, or just by purchasing them during a global event. So in my opinion, if you are not a big PvPer, and you want this mask, the fastest way is to grind out a global event, buy all of the named item caches you can, and just get it that way. It's simple. It's a lot of PvE, but you'll end up with all the PvP exclusives. Now, what makes this mask so special is it is a named Y'all Gear mask with health damage. So the Y'all Gear brand set bonus I get from this build, 10% hazard protection. Now this one is God rolled. I have max armor, I have the health damage, and max crit damage. For the mod, I chose a max crit chance mod. Now going to the Momento Backpack. This is the exotic backpack with 3 core attributes. So I get the weapon damage, the armor, and a skill tier. This is how I'm able to get the tier 6 shield with running a red core attribute. Now for the mod, I am using another max crit chance mod. Now I'm using this backpack for the talent, kill confirmed. Every time you get a kill, they drop a trophy. This trophy will give you short-term buffs and long-term buffs. Now the short-term buffs are just based off of your core attributes. For example, I'm sitting at 2 red, 5 blue, and 1 yellow. So every time I get one of these trophies, I get 10% weapon damage, I get 50% bonus armor, and 5% skill efficiency. Now as far as those long-term buffs, they go up to 30 stacks. And this is where it really begins to be fun, especially in the Dark Zone. Once you reach 30 stacks, it will sit there for 300 seconds. So you have 5 minutes to get 1 kill. That could be a kill on an enemy skill, that could be a NPC kill, that could be a player kill. It doesn't matter, as long as you get 1 kill every 5 minutes with your max stacks, you are able to hold them the entire time you're playing. Now, if you are to fast travel somewhere or go into the checkpoint, things like that, you will lose your stacks on your Momento Backpack. So as long as you have all your stacks and you're running around, you can have fun the whole time. But as soon as you hit a checkpoint or die or anything like that, you will lose your stacks and then you will have to grind them back up. Now, as far as the long-term buff from these 30 stacks, you get 1% weapon damage, 1% skill efficiency, and 0.1% armor regen for each of those stacks. So that's 30% weapon damage, 30% skill efficiency, and 3% armor regen. It is bonkers. That means that my jammer pulse is all of a sudden doing some crazy stuff. That means my armor regen that I never had before is all of a sudden a viable thing. And that means that my damage is increased so high that my AK is just melting anything in front of it. It's amazing. Great backpack. I highly recommend it for the Dark Zone. Alright, the chest piece. Sacrifice chest piece. Now this is the named Providence Defense chest piece with perfect glass cannon. Now remember, perfect glass cannon, all damage you deal is amplified by 30%. However, all damage you take is amplified by 60%. So just remember that. You are going to take damage quicker. However, you are going to be dealing a lot of damage in return. Now the Providence Defense brand set bonus I get from this build is 15% headshot damage. Now this chest piece is completely god rolled. I have max weapon damage, max crit chance, max crit damage, and a max crit chance mod. Going to the gloves. These are my Contractors Gloves. Now the Contractors Gloves are the named Petrov gloves with damage to armor. These are best in slot and you do not need to run an LMG to take advantage of it. So for this I have max armor. It comes with the 8% damage to armor, and then it also has 11.5 crit damage. So I am missing a little bit of crit damage right there of 0.5%, but this thing still smacks. Going to the knee pads. Fox's Prayer knee pads. Similar to the Contractors Gloves, the Fox's Prayer knee pads are best in slot for your knee pads. Reason being is it gives you that damage to targets out of cover. These are multiplicative buffs that greatly increase your weapon damage. You do not need to run a rifle to take advantage of this. And the way I have this is I have it at max armor. It gives you the damage to targets out of cover. And then for these, I have crit chance of 5.6. So I need a little bit more crit damage on my gloves and a little bit more crit chance on my knee pads. And then last but not least, the Grupo Sombra holster. Now the Grupo Sombra holster brand set bonus I get from this build, 15% crit damage. Now the way I have this one rolled is I have max armor with crit chance and crit damage. Now both of these attributes are not maxed out, so this is another part of the build that you can improve on and get even better results than what I'm showing you, just because of these little percentages here and there. And that's the build. This is my solo Dark Zone AK build for all players. Pretty simple. The only thing that you might have trouble getting is the mask, the Hollow Man mask. But remember, you can get it from the DZ vendors, conflict caches, or named item caches. So yeah, go get it. And as soon as you put this build together, you will love it. Now a reminder, I am rocking this with the Striker shield for that extra damage and extra armor. And I am rocking the Jammer Pulse, that way it gets rid of enemy skills, disorients enemies, and yeah, you're good to go. Let's finish off with the stats, and then we'll get out of here. So for the weapon stats, I am running Strained on the AK, Optimist on the Vector, and Preservation on the double barrel shotty. Weapon stats, this is for the AKM. I'm at 103k weapon damage, 41.2k PvP weapon damage. I'm at 58.8% crit chance and 106.5 crit damage. Both of these can be increased just by optimizing the gear that I have. It would put me at max crit chance and over 110 crit damage, but like I said, I still need to optimize. Now I'm sitting at 90% headshot damage with 8% armor damage and 31% health damage. Also remember that I have 18% damage to targets that I cover on top of that. And all of these damage bonuses are multiplicative. So that really helps out, especially running it with perfect glass cannon. On the offensive tab, we're at 40% all weapon damage bonus with 30% AR damage bonus. So every time I'm using the AK, I get 70% damage bonus total. That's just starting off. Now remember, I do have the kill confirmed talent from the Momento Backpack, which will greatly increase the build. And I'm running that with perfect glass cannon. Defensive tab, we're at 1.66 million armor, which they bump it up to 1.7. I'm also at 335k health, 100k health on kill, and a little bit of health regen. Now for the explosive resistance and hazard, explosive resistance is at 10% and hazard is at 20%, but that is also because I am running that y'all gear mask. However, a lot of this is from my watch level. Now I said it earlier and I'll say it again. This is my disclaimer for all my build videos. I am currently shade level 2580. That means all of these boxes and attributes are maxed out 50 of 50. Now if you are to copy and paste my build and you are not at shade level 1000, you will have lower stats in certain places due to your watch. However, if as soon as you hit shade level 1000, all of these attributes should be maxed out 50 of 50 and you should be good to go. Just copy and paste and you'll get the exact same results. But alright everyone, that is my solo DZ AK build. Hope you enjoy it. I have a few more solo DZ builds I'm bringing you this week, so stay tuned for that. I am Kamikazevondoom. I hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget to hit that like, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.